Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. I'm Bill,
I'm DK.
and today we're going to have a lot of fun because we are going to discuss the new World Heavyweight Championship. We haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. Plus, we're going to do a profile on Goldust, and at the end of the show, we don't do this unless we know it's a big freaking deal. We have a major announcement for episode 50 because I looked, the next episode is episode 50. So
That's it wasn't really a planned thing to have episode 50 be this awesome new
it
show that we're gonna
just
do, but it just
fell,
happened to work out nicely.
it
And
just
it's nice
fell
to
right
see,
into
man.
our lap.
It's been a while. Survivor Series 95 was our last show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had some family in town, so I wasn't able to record, but I'm happy to do this. And we should mention now Goldust was winning the poll,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one that I posted actually won the poll at the end.
Right.
Brett in WCW, which was the biggest train wreck in all of wrestling, really. So we will be doing that show as well
Yes.
later down the line. Probably episode 51 or 52, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So everyone in the Facebook group that voted for Brett, and they're wondering why this isn't a Brett show. We have already made the plans to do the Gold
Yeah.
show. So that's what we're doing.
So
It's gonna be fun.
basically the best way to put it, don't feel like your vote did not count because it did count.
That was probably the closest poll we've ever had,
I think it is.
where I think Brett won like
I'm like
the
the
last few minutes before the
last.
poll was ended. I think two votes came in like right at the end when we had thought Goldust had won, and we were like posted everything, and so I was like, "Hey, look at that!
I can't. You know
Brett
what?
came through."
I would have been thrilled to do Brett in WCW either way. So
Yeah, you know what? I was excited to talk Goldust too, his upbringing, and like we're gonna mainly focus on 95 to 99,
mm-hmm.
which is the main Goldust run, even though
Yeah.
he went for a long time after that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I think that was like his primary years.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was controversial character, and we're going to talk about it. But I think we're going to start this show kind of with a little bit of somber news that kind of was just
Yeah.
released last
On
night.
Wednesday. Yeah, this past Wednesday.
On
Actually, it was
Wednesday,
Wednesday
yeah.
night.
Wednesday night, yeah.
Um Superstar Billy Graham passed away this past Wednesday night after being in the hospital for so long. Um he was 79 years old, which I was kind of surprised. I thought he was a little bit older than that.
So did I.
I had seen some pictures of him the previous weeks before his passing. He did not look good at all. He was not himself. I know there was a report earlier in the week where the doctors wanted to take him off life support, but his wife did not want that to happen. And then I guess somewhere in between, yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't want to speculate on anything. Um, and there's a reason why this is somber news. You know, besides the obvious, him passing away, we're talking about probably if you look at the history of wrestling, the history of pro wrestling, which is over 100 plus years, you're talking about maybe one of the five most influential wrestlers that has ever set foot, ever.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Uh,
I don't think
oh, go
there's a
ahead.
Hulk Hogan without Billy Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Like he kind of based his like Hulkamania character
Yeah,
on Superstar. Like he started saying brother because that's what Superstar was saying.
because it's like without Billy Graham, there's no Hulk Hogan, no Jesse Ventura, no Scott Steiner,
Yeah.
no Triple H. There's so many people we can, say without Billy Graham, there's no this person or that person.
Yeah, exactly.
And when people like the older generation say he was, way ahead of his time, that's the honest to God truth. I mean, you didn't see anybody before Billy Graham coming out in tie-dye clothing and feathered boas and saying these promos, making them rhyme, kind of like Muhammad Ali used to do and Buddy Rogers used to do. Like Billy Graham just took it to that next level. And he was one of the first bad guys that people rooted for. That's something that we should remember. He's one of the first cool original bad guys.
Yeah.
Of course, in 1977, he beat Bruno Sammartino for the then WWF title, which, if you have not seen that match, it's actually a really good match. I recommend going out of your way to see that match. It's a really good match. And then the guys that he wrestled besides Bruno, Gorilla Monsoon, Andre the Giant, Harley Race, Bob Backlund, Mil Mascaras. It's Dusty Rhodes is probably the biggest one of them all, with the trilogy that they had. And then he had a comeback in the mid to late 80s, and then his career ended. And we could talk about the steroids and all that, and I have been at times someone who's like, hey, the wrestler Billy Graham is, he's very important, but the person, I wasn't a big fan of the person, but I'm not gonna bash him.
Yeah, that's
gonna,
not what this is.
no,
Guy passed away. We're not gonna talk about all its faults.
no, oh
Um,
no, no,
we
no, no,
will,
no.
like, in the future. I'm guaranteeing we'll have a show on him where we can
Mm-hmm.
kind of go through his career and talk about the highs and the lows. But
Oh
yeah, we
yeah,
just wanted to make sure that we made a mention
yeah,
uh,
and
of
I
him.
want to say, I want to say the documentary, the DVD that they did on him a long time ago, I think is on the network. I'm not really sure. I'll have to
Yeah, I'm not
look
sure about that either.
at it. If it is on there, I do recommend everyone check it out. It's called 20 Years Too Soon. Um, and when WWE did get the Hall of Fame back going in '04, Billy Graham being in that class is a big reason why that's one of my favorite classes of all time. Even though, we don't really acknowledge the WWE Hall of Fame as a legit Hall of Fame, but Billy Graham's a big reason why that class is so good.
Yeah, yeah, we could debate the Hall of Fame all day long. It's always a fun topic for me and you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's too bad. But let's get into some more exciting news.
Mm-hmm.
We got a new title coming out.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on the title design and the participants in the match here for to crown a new champion?
Okay. So when I first saw the belt, I was like, this is actually a nice looking belt. Like,
Oh, look kind of cool. It's got like
yeah,
the
it looks kind of cool.
WCW gold belt, but the WWE
Kind of
logo in the middle.
kind of a
What I mean?
smaller version, but not.
Yeah.
And then one of my friends, Steve, I'm shouting you out on this.
Shout out to Steve.
He pointed something out to me, and I'm like, oh my God, you're right. If you look at the logo, like the WWE logo, it looks like it looks bad. Like it kind of looks like it's recycled or tinfoil or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
really know how to describe it, but he pointed it out to me, and I had to look back at the belt, and I'm like, he's right, son of a gun. He's right.
Really? I haven't noticed
Um,
that. I'll have to take a look.
but after thinking about it, I still like the design of the belt. It's not a, top 5 design all time. And I actually did an article about a month ago on my top five design, my favorite belt designs, which I'll share with you guys so you guys can read it. But no, I like the belt. Um,
What about the
I
concept?
yeah, the concept. See, this is where it gets tricky because you're basically saying, "Oh, our main champion is now a part timer." Basically,
I'll tell you what it says to me.
mm-hmm.
They should name the title the not as good as Roman Reigns championship. Because that's what it is.
It is.
It's a second tier title like they used to do when they had the world heavyweight champion and the WWE champion. It kind of depended on who had it. I'm talking about like in 2003 range.
Right, right.
Depending on who had the title, the other one seemed weak.
Mm-hmm.
Now Roman Reigns. Now I've heard rumors and articles that they want records to be broken
Yeah.
on all their championships. That's why Gunther's still the IC champion. That's why
Mm-hmm.
Bianca won at WrestleMania. That's why Roman, the story's continuing, which I kind of agreed with that Cody not winning because of the injury and everything. We talked about that in post WrestleMania show.
Yeah.
So I think they want to have like a champion on Raw to kind of when there's times where Roman's not going to be there or he's going to be in a different kind of match where his titles aren't on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Roman's become that champion that you know he's not going to lose the title unless it's a WrestleMania because of how long he's been champion.
Yeah.
Unless there's some sort of injury that happens or something else happens where he's not going to be around.
Yeah.
So I think they were in a lose-lose situation once they decided that Roman was going to be this domination of a champion because you got to keep fans engaged at all times. So, but I don't know if this is going to work. Like, are they really going to acknowledge Seth or AJ as on the same level as Roman as a champion? I don't think so.
That's a very good question. And I want to bring up the records because the next one he's going to pass, which is relatively soon, is Pedro Morales, which we after WrestleMania was like, okay, he's going past 1,000 days. He's going to pass that.
Yeah. May 27th or something, right?
Yeah, I believe so. It's real soon. It's
Yeah,
like I think the
it's the
next
day
couple of weeks.
after. Like,
Yeah.
but when we were looking at the timing, it was like Night of Champions. Like, I don't. They're really blowing a situation here
Mm-hmm.
because if he defended his title at Night of Champions, which you're supposed to do because every title's on the line, that's what it used to be called.
Bullshit, bullshit.
Yeah. Now he's in a tag team match. He's going to win the tag team titles, and now he's going to have all these belts. It's going to look stupid.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm not too sure about that. But
You think he's going to lose to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, or you think Solo is going to lose? There's
I
no
think
way.
Solo.
There's no way.
There's
There's
no way
no.
Roman's losing.
There's no way the Bloodline's losing. I think they're going to do a Bloodline breakup, and it's going to be Roman and Solo versus the Usos at SummerSlam, and you're going to have all these tag stupid situations, which I think that match would be awesome. But then you have Roman with these belts he's never going to defend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be bad. That's why they're bringing in this other title.
Right.
I'm getting sidetracked.
So yeah. So
Come on.
Pedro's next, and
Yeah.
and I agree with you. Roman should be defending his title at that show, but they're not.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't have enough time at this
I
point.
started getting fired up before I made my point. I apologize. If he went into a match on that Saturday, it was 999 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you could have built up some guy that's not expected to win, where you guys like similar when Drew McIntyre challenged him at Clash of the Castle,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a small percentage of people like maybe Drew can do it. That's what they needed to do here, not have a tag match. Like they have all these big stars, but they're all in tag teams now. It's not good what they're doing.
The first name that popped in my head when you were talking just now that I thought was like he could have been good for this situation. Sheamus.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need to win.
No.
Like you could reward him for what he's done with Gunther.
Yep.
And be like, we're going to put you in the world or, in the WWE title match. You're not going to win, but we're going to put you in this match.
But then they have Gunther has never lost
Right.
on the main roster. He's at 400 days right now.
And
he's the Intercontinental Champion. So
he's so close to the Honky Tonk Man record.
Yeah.
So, and then after Pedro is Hulk's run, Hulk Hogan, the 4-year reign. And the reports that I've read is they want Roman as champion past WrestleMania 40. And they want him to break Hogan's record. And I'm not saying this defending Hogan. Believe me, I'm not. But WrestleMania 40 is going to be a pretty big WrestleMania. It's the 40th WrestleMania. I would think
that doesn't mean you have to have him lose the title.
I know, but I would, but again, that's just me if I was booked.
Okay, so I'll never put this into a movie perspective, okay? Say you go to this movie and you're expecting this epic conclusion, okay? Mm-hmm. And then there's like a cliffhanger at the end. You don't get the ending you wanted, but then you're excited for the next movie. Right. I think that's what they're doing here with Roman. And it's going to piss a lot of like these internet fanboys off.
Oh, it will.
It will. Like when Cody didn't win, when he looked weak at the Royal Rumble and he came back from the injury and he didn't win, which I kind of thought was going to happen. But then you talked me into it. We're doing the podcast. I was like, oh, maybe he will win. Okay, I'm picking Cody. So yeah, I think. And then when you start thinking about these records, like they're never going to have a chance to do this again.
No,
people are never happy. I remember in '99, everybody was bitching because, oh my God, there was a new champion every 3 weeks. Now you have this domination. Like, I don't like that he's not around as often, but it's pretty cool having someone dominate like us, especially like a really good heel.
Yeah.
Where he's needing help to win, but he's still talking his trash and walking around. Like, it's really good for the business, I think.
And this kind of goes back to a discussion we had a while ago. Do they really attempt to go for San Martino's record? That's 7 years. I don't.
Oh my God.
Oh,
that's awesome. I think Roman wants to be around for 7 more years. Is it 7 total years or 7 more
7
years?
total years.
Okay.
So
he's 3 now,
almost at 3.
We had 3 at SummerSlam.
Yeah. So he'd have to go another 4 years. I don't see it happening. I think Hogan is like as far as he goes, and that's it.
Nice. But, Hogan would be WrestleMania 41, right?
About there, yeah.
Okay.
So
if 40 is in Philly, I wonder where 41 is.
Right now, I've heard that Minneapolis St. Paul is a finalist.
Okay.
I don't know who else is in the running.
Yeah. You got the big stadium there. Yeah. It's usually like the newest NFL stadium. I'm surprised Vegas hasn't tried to get a WrestleMania.
I think they will eventually.
Like, I know they tried to do Money in the Bank and then they had to move it into the smaller arena.
Yeah, because the tickets weren't selling.
Yeah, so like I heard this. Now this is just a funny rumor someone made up, but I thought it'd be hilarious. Okay, so Roman wins the tag titles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then he wins Money in the Bank. Then he cashes.
I think I know where you're going with
this. Then he cashes in on Seth, and then he has all the belts, all of them, and then they have to create a new belt.
And then he does the same thing again and again and again.
Acknowledge me. I have all the belts. I don't even have enough arms to carry all my belts. So then he just sticks them all together into this giant belt, and then Paul has to walk around holding it. Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be awesome and the worst thing ever at the same time.
Right.
But
now, let's talk about the 2 guys that are going to be competing for the World Heavyweight title: Seth Rollins and AJ Styles.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's thinking that or that is going to say what I'm about to say. I thought for sure it was going to be Edge. Just the way he had, like put stuff up on social media and interviews, I was like, okay, it's Seth and Edge. When I found out that he got beat in that triple threat match, I was like, wow, okay. Did not see that coming.
Maybe Adam thought he was winning too and didn't get the script sent to him.
Right.
Maybe change things. Yeah, I saw that stuff too. And I'm like, okay, so is Edge gonna win? And then like his last title, and then he'll lose it like a little bit down the line, and then he goes away. Like I
Now,
could see that being okay.
this is where things kind of get interesting because, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that are listening or watching that are saying right now, Seth is winning this like 100%. But photos came out this week of Seth working on the new Captain America movie, New World Order, the story of how Hulk Hogan became the third member of the NWO. I've had that joke in my head all week. I'm sorry. I
It's
had to
weird.
get that. So now I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. If Seth's working on this movie, do you really want to put the belt on him?
Let's have all our champions go on vacation. Be awesome.
The only one, okay, Gunther did, but it was only because he got married.
Yeah. I
That's
guess.
that's an exception.
Yeah.
So I'm like, now I'm not so sure. I'm not as positive that Seth is going to win like I was at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
So I
Um,
kind of want to hear from your end how you're, thinking about this because the show's a week away.
well, okay. So first thing, I'm going to criticize a lot of stuff right now. Okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay. They introduce a new title. They say the winner will be on the show that Roman Reigns isn't on, and then they have SmackDown guys in the tournament.
Thank you.
Roman Reigns is on SmackDown.
Thank you.
Okay, so the Raw guy is going to win the title. Like we already know this. Why would they have the SmackDown guy win? Right? AJ Styles is on SmackDown, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Okay. Okay, so it either means he's going to go back and forth, or Seth is going to win. Okay, so just because he's filming a movie, I don't think he's not the star of the movie.
No, he's not.
He could probably film all his scenes in a weekend. So I don't think the movie has as much to do with him winning the title. I did read an article from our favorite guy, Dave Meltzer, saying this could hurt his push in the future if he goes for more roles, but this should not affect his push for this title. So I think Seth will win the title, and I was surprised it was AJ. I always thought it was going to be Drew McIntyre, but I know he had a contract issue, but he has resigned, I guess, for is it 5 years or 3 years?
Oh, I have not heard of this.
I heard just a couple days ago that he signed a big money deal to return. Now I don't know how credible that is. I can't remember where I read that. Hopefully it's true. He's a good wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of and yeah, like AJ's like a baby face and Seth is a baby face, but he's kind of like a heel too, so it's kind of weird. I don't know.
But I think with this title, you do need a babyface as champion.
I think so. I do have to step away for 1 second. I'll be right back, but you keep going.
All right. While you do that, I'm going to give my thoughts on the match. I do it. This match is going to be really good. It's going to be a really good match. I'm still going to go with Seth. I mean, there's that little bit of doubt in the back of my head, with the movie thing, but like DK said, and he kind of convinced me, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Seth is going to win, and he'll be the new world heavyweight champion. And then I saw something today, and I'd seen it before. Seth is going to be the first person in company history to be in the inaugural championship match of 3 different titles. He was in the finals of the NXT tournament to crown the first NXT champion. He fought Finn for the Universal title when it first came out. And now he's fighting to be the first world heavyweight champion. So, yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. And Seth has gotten so over. The song definitely has something to do with it, but, you know, Seth has to win. I think he has to win. If he doesn't, I'll be very surprised. If Styles wins, I think he does go to Raw. I think that's the plan. So I'm going to say Seth wins. And I'm still holding out hope that Roman does not win the tag titles, but I don't know. Still to come, our big announcement here on the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. And boy, oh boy, do we have a doozy of an announcement for you. So you're going to want to stay tuned to the end of the show for that announcement. Okay, so like DK said at the beginning, we did have a poll put up for Goldust and Bret Hart, and it actually did end up like looking like Goldust was going to win, and we were like, okay, it's going to be Goldust, and then Bret made it a tie, and then Bret took the lead. So what we're going to do, we're going to do Goldust today. We're going to talk about Goldust, and then in a couple episodes, we will discuss Bret Hart's WCW run. Boy, oh boy, how fun that run was. So, let's see, what else can I talk about real quick? Oh, there's
I'm
DK.
back.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right. So we are now going to get into discussing Goldust and probably Dustin Rhodes' best years. Probably. I mean, you can make an argument for a few other years, but when I made this pick, I was thinking, okay, his first run, I think, might have been his best as far as character work goes, the presentation, everything.
Yes.
So that's why I went with Goldust on this one.
I think 95, 96 for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're going to do this chronologically, so I'll give my take on when we get to the stuff in 97.
And I do want to mention before I forget, and oh boy, if I forget this little note, I'm gonna kick myself. So I'm gonna mention it now.
Okay.
So the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the writer, or not the writers, but the subscribers, they send in their year-end votes.
Yep.
This gimmick was voted the worst gimmick of 1995.
The worst gimmick. Well,
The worst gimmick.
God, I hate Dave Meltzer.
But it's not Meltzer. It's the
I
readers.
know. I hate everything about it. The readers, the writers, the everything.
Okay.
But it's like it's the biggest source we can use as podcasters. Okay, so Goldust didn't debut till September.
Like September, yeah.
So,
now,
but he's the worst gimmick of the whole year.
Yeah.
Wasn't Doink around?
He was, but I think he left at some point.
Okay.
Now I'm going to throw this curveball at you.
This is freaking 95, man. It was a bad year.
All right.
Tell me Goldust.
Okay, when I tell you this, you might walk away. I don't know.
I'm gonna try.
I want you to think the 95 in general. Who do you think the writer or the readers voted as the best gimmick of 95?
Now, when they say gimmick, are they just talking wrestler?
Yeah.
The best gimmick of 95?
The best gimmick of 95.
Damn. Can you give me a hint?
WCW.
WCW. Lex Luger?
No, that's a good guess though.
Um,
Think mid card.
all of WCW's mid card. Sorry. Is it Diesel?
No,
He was champion.
he was champion, but that's not the
Yeah, I
year.
need more hints. I'm gonna guess this.
All
Is,
right.
is it that bad?
Like it's like when you hear it, you're not gonna believe it.
Okay. One more hint, and if I don't get it,
All right,
then
one more hint.
okay.
It's a music genre style gimmick.
Music genre style gimmick. Double J?
No.
Yeah, you know what? I'm spacing like 95. I kind of erased out of my brain. I tried to. Um, yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Give it to me.
Disco Inferno.
What? Disco
Yep.
Inferno is in WWF?
No,
Where?
WCW.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
I
is
would have. I would say okay. I was looking for WWF. I would have guessed Disco Inferno. Hell yeah, Disco.
that was a good gimmick. Like when you look back.
Honestly, he was one of my favorites before NWO started.
Yeah.
Like when Disco Inferno came down, I was like, all right, I'm watching this 3 minute train wreck. Good stuff.
Okay. So to
Yeah.
kind of do the
I hope you guys are watching on video because that's pretty.
yeah. I don't want to get like legal. Well, I could sing it, but anyway.
Well, hopefully, our special guest on episode 50 isn't watching this one, or you might cancel.
Oh my god. He might laugh. I don't know. Okay.
He should have been the
So
best gimmick. Jesus, that's a
he would
spoiler alert.
he would have gotten my vote.
That was a
He would have
spoiler
gotten my
alert.
vote. Yeah.
95 wrestler.
Yeah. He would have gotten my vote. So anyway.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. So to do the beginning story of Goldust any justice, we have to go back to Dustin Rhodes' last match in WCW, because this is where the story begins.
Yeah.
So Dustin Rhodes in 1995, caught up in Hulkamania and Macho Man Running Wild, is in a feud with a wrestler by the name of the Black Top Bully, who some of you may know best as Smash of Demolition and the Repo Man. So at this event called WCW Uncensored, this is their first Uncensored, by the way, they are competing in a match called the King of the Road match. So what is a King of the Road match? Well, these two guys fight on the back of an 18-wheeler. In the truck is a bunch of hay. The object of the match, and I've seen this match, it'll put your kids to sleep. Let's just go with that. The object of the match is to go from the tailgate end of the truck all the way to the other side, and you have to blow the horn. When you blow the horn, you win the match.
And the truck's running, right? On the
truck is running. The truck is running. So this is going on a closed like highway somewhere. So during the match, both guys bleed. And I want you to remember that part for in a couple of minutes.
Yep.
Both guys bleed during the match. Blacktop Bully wins the match. Well, number one, this match was taped. So this didn't happen live.
Oh.
I know. That would have been kind of cool.
Tell me they had to edit some of the scenes of the truck.
I have no idea. I haven't seen the match in like 10 years. But remember when I said a moment ago that both men led during the match?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a big no-no at the time. And because both men bled, they went against WCW policy and both men lost their jobs. So we never really got the full finish of the Dustin Rhodes Blacktop Bully angle.
Man, and we are all disappointed by that.
I know.
It had something to do with TBS, didn't it?
Yeah, Turner.
Turner.
Yeah,
But I'm sure if Hulk Hogan bled, then it's okay.
exactly.
It's just like that always makes me laugh. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, he's
So,
fired because he's a mid Carter, and we want to get rid of him anyways. So
mm-hmm.
we'll just use this as an excuse.
So Dustin, besides losing his job, is kind of in a crossroads. Pardon the pun, because
That's a good
he's
pun.
he's
Yeah.
married to a young lady named Terry, who worked together in WCW, dated, then he ended up getting married.
That she's a makeup artist.
Yeah, she was a makeup artist at first. And they have a baby girl. But at the same time, Dustin wants to be with his dad. So he decides ultimately to go with his wife and his kid. So Vince McMahon gives Dustin a call and is like, I want you to come work with us, but we got a gimmick for you. And Dustin is like, okay, whatever you give me, I want it to be like the complete opposite of what my dad is. So the character is this guy, gold makeup, gold outfit, gold everywhere. And his name is Goldust. And he refers to Hollywood movies. Dustin Rhodes mentions in an interview that when Vince called him and offered him the gimmick, he mentioned that it would be androgynous and that would be pushing the whole drag queen, you know, kind of sexual idea.
So they had that plan from the beginning. I always
Mm-hmm.
wondered if maybe Dustin was incorporating some things into his character, but yeah, it sounds
Right.
like Vince kind of had it all laid out for him.
So Dustin, after getting off the phone, says to himself, what did I get myself into? And he admits
Just gotta
that
get in the
at
door,
first,
man.
now he admits at first that he felt uncomfortable with the gimmick. But as time went on, he would make the gimmick work for the better.
Yep.
So he there were vignettes. I remember the vignettes. And he was saying like all these, famous catchphrases from movies that 10-year-old Bill had no idea of. Would have
Yeah.
never gotten at the time.
Same for me.
Yeah. And he makes his in-ring debut at In Your House 4 against Marty Jannetty on pay-per-view. So, and he wins. He wins that match. And then he beats Bam Bam at Survivor Series, which we recently talked about.
Yeah, we just
So,
talked about it.
yeah, we just talked about it. And I'm going to say this, man, does he get a lot better after the match with Bam Bam. Oh my goodness.
Well, like we talked about on Survivor Series show, Bam Bam was like 2 feet out the door here.
Mm-hmm.
Knew that. He didn't put a lot of effort into that match, you could tell.
Right. Right.
So I don't think that was really a Goldust
No. Oh
situation.
no.
And yeah, he would get a lot better as the year would go. Like I'm talking 96, because we're
Yeah.
basically debuted in October, right?
Yeah.
Like the vignettes
So,
for September, and then yeah,
mhm.
then we'll get into the Royal Rumble and stuff like that.
So Goldust's first big feud, and I mean big feud, is with Razor Ramon. And he does this stuff that, provokes Razor, makes him feel uncomfortable. Like he gives him this letter and he has like this fake tattoo of a heart with the word Razor on it on his chest.
That's good
And
stuff.
he's playing the mind games with him.
Yep.
So we get to the Royal Rumble. Goldust challenges Razor for the Intercontinental title. During Goldust's entrance, there's a young lady in a dress accompanying him. We have no idea who she is. Never seen her, never heard of. And she's actually, if I remember that match right, she doesn't do anything in that match except just sit there.
She sits there, and then they got the usher guy too,
Right.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like almost like a stable.
Yeah.
Three of them.
So
smoking the cigar, which she's not smoking it. She just has it. It's kind
so
of
after 1-2-3 Kid interferes, Goldust beats Razor Ramon and is the new Intercontinental Champion. So then we find out that this lady's name is Marlena. And
she's the director.
She's a director. Exactly. She's not a manager. She's a director.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, DK, this match was the match when I first, like when it happened, where I realized it's Dustin Rhodes. I had not known at the time that it was Dustin.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew at Survivor Series when he took the
wig.
hair off. That was like the first time I've never seen that match with Marty Jannetty, his like debut.
I haven't seen it either.
Like, I always thought the debut was the Bam Bam match.
Right.
But after doing research and finding out he did face Marty, it's kind of weird why they'd have him debut at an In Your House and not save him. But maybe they didn't see him as high as he would end up being.
Mm-hmm. So to save us a little bit of time, at WrestleMania 12, Goldust fought Roddy Piper in the Hollywood Backlot Brawl, which you guys can check out on our review of WrestleMania 12.
And let's that was supposed to be Razor in a Miami Street fight, but he had given his notice and he had
been suspended.
Suspension due to drugs. And basically they didn't want to give him a high profile match.
Right.
And people say, well, how come Diesel got one? Well, he didn't get it until after WrestleMania. So
So Goldust eventually is going to lose the Intercontinental title. And he faces Ahmed Johnson at King of the Ring 96. And it's kind of the same situation with Razor, but where the feud starts is after Ahmed Johnson lost for the first time. He's taken out on a stretcher. Goldust gives him mouth to mouth. Ahmed Johnson could have killed somebody after that with that reaction.
Yeah. He had like a gold paint on his lips.
Mm-hmm. Like I remember, like he was gonna kill somebody.
Yeah.
So they have the match, and Ahmed wins the Intercontinental title. So for the rest of '96,
and Goldust was hurt here. That's why he lost the title.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that. He had a back injury.
Okay.
So he had to take some time off.
He kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit because he's not in any title picture. He's got like 2 or 3 pay-per-view matches with Undertaker. Faces Mark Maron. And the whole Goldust train really doesn't pick right back up until the end of '96 because Hunter Hearst Helmsley is trying to hit on Marlena and Goldust isn't having it. And this kind of solidifies that Goldust isn't really gay. Because, you had that whole illusion of, is he gay? Is he not? Without even saying.
Because I think it's later in the year where they actually talk about how they're married.
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point, it's still kind of like a director.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they acknowledge him and her being married or not in 96.
Not till about like the middle of 97.
Yeah, during like the Pillman stuff. But we'll get there.
So Goldust becomes a good guy now. And
He was always a good guy, man.
Well, it's just the way people accept him.
Yeah, he just liked
So
Razor in his title. No big
he
deal.
challenges Hunter for the Intercontinental title at the Royal Rumble and loses. And then we add a new element to this feud because at In Your House Final Four, which you guys can check out the review of that show.
Basically anything in '97, it's
Yeah.
in the archives, except
And
the
the
one I
art,
wanted to do, which
right?
lost the poll.
But we're gonna get to it. We will get to it.
I'm just kidding.
This strong woman attacks, well, doesn't really attack Marlena, but just
He ragdolls her.
yes, like ragdolls her. And we find out that this woman is Hunter's bodyguard, and her name is China. So Goldust is in the feud that begins China's career in the
Yeah,
WWE. So they have a match at WrestleMania 13 where Goldust loses again and China ragdolls Marlena again.
yeah,
But they do manage to get a bit of revenge on both Hunter and China. And this is where in 97 WWF does something different. They start to focus on some of the lives of the superstars. Like the one that everyone remembers the most is the one with Mick Foley, because
yeah,
that was done so well.
yeah.
They do another one about Goldust and Marlena. And this is where we find out that they're married. They have a kid together. He's the son of Dusty Rhodes. And Goldust ends up becoming one of the bigger baby faces at that time.
Yeah, and the interview was like he had no makeup on too, right? Just
Right.
sitting there in his street clothes, talking
Mm-hmm.
as
Normal.
Dusty Rhodes, not
Right.
Dust or a wrestling character. That
Right.
was like a shoot interview, basically.
And it gets to a point where he is in the main event of Canadian Stampede in the 10-man tag match, which is a big deal. It's a big deal. I don't care what anybody says. You main event a pay-per-view. I don't care if it's the biggest or the smallest. You main event a pay-per-view, that's a big deal to your career. And he's main
I'm
eventing the
glad.
pay-per-view.
I'm glad you pointed that out because it's actually in his book about like he wanted to main event a pay per view, and when he got that call, because I think he got that call because Shawn Michaels quit.
Okay.
Like, Shawn was going to be there. Shawn was supposed to be on that Team USA at the pay per view I was at. Shawn walked out for unsafe work conditions after the fight with Brett in the back. And I think that's why Goldust got pushed into that spot. And then after that match, all the guys kind of got teamed up into single rivalries.
Mm-hmm.
And he got teamed up
Brian
with
Pillman.
Brian.
Right. So we have a match at SummerSlam with Goldust and Brian Pillman. The stipulation being if Pillman loses the match, he has to wear one of Marlena's dresses. Well, Goldust, with assistance from Marlena, beats Brian Pillman, and Pillman has to wear the dress. So this angle starts to heat up a bit. And I think it's even mentioned at one point that Brian and Marlena Terry had actually dated each other. I think they mentioned that at one point,
Yeah.
which I did not know at the time. So
And that was real.
yeah, that was
And
real.
it was tough. Like Dustin's talked about that in his book too, when they did this storyline, that it was tough. Because I think he like makes a point about like saying that his daughter is really his Brian Pillman's daughter, like in a being a wrestling promo.
Right.
And it was like not okay for Dustin Rhodes, the person. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess he had to power through during that
Yeah.
angle.
So they have a rematch at Ground Zero in Your House. If Brian Pillman loses this match, he's going to leave the WWF. He's gone, never coming back. But if he wins, Marlena is his property for 30 days.
Such a so bad.
And Ryan Pillman beats Goldust.
Yep.
And Marlena is with Ryan for 30 days. And
Loaded purse had a brick
yeah,
in it.
yep. And this angle gets very interesting because she's in like these revealing outfits, like scantily clad, leather,
Yep.
you know. So this is supposed to lead to the next match in the feud where Ryan Pillman was scheduled to face Dude Love at Bad Blood in Your House.
Yep.
If Dude Love won the match, Goldust would get a rematch right then and there with Brian Pillman. However, as we talked about in that pay-per-view review, that match never happens because the day of the show, Brian Pillman is found dead.
Yeah. He wrestled the night before
Mm-hmm.
against Goldust. I believe it was against Goldust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. He writes in his book his last match was against him. So, um, yeah, I don't think we've talked about Pillman yet, but we will.
No, yeah,
We'll,
we
we'll
will.
probably
I
have a show
want
on
to.
him. We'll have a show on him soon. Um, Based on the research I did, this was supposed to be a Marlena heel turn, um, program
Right.
where it came out that she kind of turned on Goldust and
Mm-hmm.
helped Brian Pillman win. Like even though it looked like it was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the future it was supposed to be Pillman having Marlena, or it was going to be Terry. I guess her name was Terry at this point.
Right.
Then eventually down the line, maybe at the following WrestleMania, that she would come back and then they would have this big reunion of being back together. But
Right.
obviously that didn't happen because of unforeseen circumstances
Mm-hmm.
with Brian Pillman.
Right. So this puts the Goldust character in a weird situation.
They throw him in a blender here because it gets weird in 98
Yeah, it does. So
and late 97.
it does. So let's get to the end of 97 because they do another interview on Raw. And Goldust says, I know I don't want to be with you anymore, Terry.
Yep.
I'm done. Because in real life they did have problems.
Yeah.
But on TV, he was like, I'm going on my own. I don't want you anymore. And Goldust now becomes the artist formerly known as Goldust. So what he does in this gimmick is he is going to be different people throughout this gimmick.
Yeah.
He comes out as China Dust. He comes out as Marilyn Manson Dust.
What about when he was the New Year's baby in Austin Stun?
Oh, yes. He was the New Year's baby.
That was like the last part of 97. I think it was like the
Mm-hmm.
New Year's episode or Christmas episode or something.
He was Sable Dust.
The Sable one was bad.
Oh.
Oh,
And my personal favorite,
out of my head.
Dusty Dust.
Dusty Dust.
That was my personal favorite.
That's a Dusty Dust, eh?
So, and now he has Luna Vachon with him. And we mentioned Sable a moment ago. There starts to be tension, not only between Luna and Sable, but with Goldust and Mark Mero. And this leads to the mixed tag match at WrestleMania, where, you know, when you watch it, you're like, wow, Sable's incredible. But then when you hear the stories, it's really Luna who got Sable over, and everyone was congratulating Sable when it should have been Luna.
Yeah. And that's why Luna had issues with Sable.
Mm-hmm. So
Because Luna could have killed her in that ring.
Oh yeah, she could have. And I believe it. She would have.
Yep. There's a couple parts in that match. I don't know if you've seen it recently, but there's a part where like Sable's kind of yelling at her, but it's part of the storyline. Like she's
Mhm.
this badass now, and she's mad at Mark Marrow. She's mad at everybody. She just wants to win. And then Luna kind of pushes her down, and she kind of like gives her this look, like, you know what, sit the hell down, bitch. Like, and she kind of loses it there for a few seconds, and then Goldust kind of grabs her and like goes, okay,
Mhm.
okay, you are a Vachon. We don't need you losing it.
Exactly. So after the Luna Sable feud ends, Dustin comes out on Raw one week.
Yeah.
And there's a barrel on the stage. He puts his wig in the barrel. He puts his Goldust suit in the barrel, and he lights it on fire. And he basically says, I am no longer Goldust. Because of Goldust, I lost my relationship with my dad. I lost my relationship with my wife. I lost my relationship with my kid. Goldust is dead. I am now Dustin Rhodes.
Okay.
And, well, you'd think they'd take advantage of this gimmick. But what do? They make him a reborn Christian.
Yeah.
Because, by God, in 1998 WWF, we all needed a reborn Christian wrestler.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that Dustin Rhodes would have ever gotten over anyways. I don't think the
Right.
people cared enough. Um, like he was there before as Dustin Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Goldust did need like a reboot, but I think it would have been almost better if he like went away for a while and then came back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's some
So,
characters they need that.
yeah. Now, okay, I did not remember this, but this is kind of funny. So he had done vignettes, reading from the Bible. And he is sponsored by a group called, are you ready for this, DK?
I'm ready.
The Evangelists Against Television, Movies, and Entertainment,
I do remember that.
or the acronym EAT Me.
Yeah. What a wonderful coincidence that is.
I know, right? So now we've got this newcomer into the WWE by the name of Val Venus. He's an
Hello,
adult film star.
ladies.
He's
Oh
an
man, we
adult
got the
film
Val
star.
Venus
Film
episode. You
star.
know,
And he and Dustin get into a little bit of a rivalry. And then Val one night introduces us to the world premiere of his latest film, The Preacher's Wife.
this is not good.
And
Big
we
Val
see
Bounty.
Val in bed with Terry. Oh boy. So now Terry's back in the picture.
Nice.
They have a match at Breakdown in Your House where Terry is wearing very little clothing on this occasion. If you don't believe me, go watch it. She's wearing very little. So Val Venus gets the win.
And at this time, Goldust or Dustin and Terry are divorced, right?
Yeah, they are divorced. So the next night on Raw, we start to see this sign that Dustin is holding. And it says, he is coming. Okay.
Okay.
And it's like, the second coming is upon us and all of that.
Yeah.
So, he's doing the whole, reborn Christian. And you're thinking, okay, I don't know what this is going to be. Well, we find out a few weeks later because Goldust returns to a pretty huge pop. And Goldust comes back, beats Val Venus at the following month's In Your House. And this is kind of like a second life for Goldust because he's getting these big pops. He's popular again. And then we get to 1999. And this is where things get even more bizarre, if you can imagine. Because Goldust has a mini feud with the Blue Meanie. Because the Blue Meanie, well, he's not the Blue Meanie. He's Blue Dust.
Yes. Can you do that in the Vince McMahon voice for us?
He's Blue Dust.
I can just imagine him trying to explain the story to Dustin. You're gold, and he's blue. Damn it, pal. He's Blue Dust.
So they have a match.
Incredible.
And Goldust wins. He wins the match.
He's burying Blue Dust.
He is.
Using his creative control, which he probably didn't. Blue Dust 0-1. Thanks for nothing, Dustin.
However, because this is 1999 WWF, Goldust ends up keeping Blue Meanie with him as like a little buddy.
Okay.
And Ryan Shamrock, who's been a whore at this point in time, decides to team up with Goldust.
Did they make Ryan Shamrock Ken Shamrock's sister, even though they weren't related?
Yes. And she was with Val Venus, might have hooked up with Billy Gunn, might have hooked up with Goldust. Did hook up with Ken in real life, but we will put that under the rug.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
so
weird.
I know it's bizarre. This is a bizarre episode. So Goldust is in a 4-way elimination match at WrestleMania 15 for the Intercontinental title.
And the winner gets Ryan Shamrock. Oh, sorry.
So it comes down to Goldust and the Road Dogg. Because, the Road Dogg has absolutely nothing to do with Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the weird part. I know it's the Goldust episode. But if you look at what Billy Gunn was doing that night, they should have just switched them.
Yeah, I know.
Because wasn't Billy Gunn in some like hardcore Royal or something?
Yes.
Which made sense for Dog to be in that because he'd been hardcore champion before.
Yeah, I know.
It like I swear, like they just wrote their names on the wrong line.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it supposed to be me? No, you're down here, man. Oh,
it's like they signed up in the wrong club,
Yeah, they went in the wrong dressing room. It's okay.
So
yeah, I thought that was odd.
So to get to the end, Ryan accidentally trips Goldust, costs him the match, and Goldust leaves with the Blue Meanie. So the next night on Raw, it's Goldust versus Road Dogg for the Intercontinental title. And Goldust wins the Intercontinental title again.
Okay.
And this is
and then gets the title shot the next night.
And he wins the title back.
All right.
So I think this starts his third reign as champion. Because there was a weird point in 96 where the title was vacant and then he went back. It's weird.
Didn't he face the Ultimate Warrior at one point?
Yeah, he did.
A match where he was actually injured, but it was like really quick because it was advertised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
So a couple of weeks after Goldust wins the Intercontinental title, he loses the Intercontinental title to the Godfather and never gets it back. And
really?
Well, I mean, he had a rematch, but he didn't win the belt back.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the time, Goldust teams up with the Blue Meanie until Goldust leaves the company in June of 1999. And thus ends the almost 4-year run of Goldust in the WWF.
Yeah, and like basically like going through the chronological, like I don't count 95 because that's like a couple months.
Yeah, this is more like
90,
3 years.
96 was his best year. And I think like now when Mick Foley did the interview, it helped him.
Mm-hmm.
People looked at him as like a person, not just mankind.
Right.
Right. It's like, oh, I remember I saw this guy as Cactus Jack. And then, oh, man, he just wanted to be like Shawn Michaels when he was Dude
Mm-hmm.
Love. He wanted to be Shawn Michaels. So it
Right.
made me like him more. I think it did the opposite effect with
Mm-hmm.
Goldust. I think if he was just the bizarre, nobody knows who he is character, then I think that could have kept going and going and going. Not not on the same level as the Undertaker, but a
Right.
little bit similar. Like if you found out the Undertaker was Mark Calloway in 1991, there would be no like if he
Yes.
had a sit down interview saying, "Hey, I'm Mark Calloway. I'm from Texas. I ride motorcycles." Like his mystique wouldn't have become what it became.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what happened here with Goldust. Got a little bit too real. Found out his family, like most people knew that he was Dustin Rhodes, but if you didn't know, that was probably a big shock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, your dad's Dusty Rhodes. So now you're thinking, oh, this is the Dusty Rhodes son. You're not thinking of Goldust anymore. So that's just my opinion on that. But he was a great character, especially in '96. Um, that match with Roddy Piper was nuts.
Oh,
Mania
that's
12.
fun to
We didn't talk
watch.
about it that much on this episode because we did review WrestleMania 12.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to hear our thoughts on the match, go check out that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what would you give? Like we don't rank or rate wrestlers
Right.
based on their years and stuff, but like he was a pretty significant part of the
He
roster
is.
in '96
He
and
is.
'97.
Mm-hmm. And
And
I want to go
that kind of
back.
weird.
I want to go back to what you had said a moment ago with the whole vignettes, with the interview with him and Marlena.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the one mistake WWF did with the entire Goldust character. Because
Yeah.
Dustin did, like, looking back on it now, he did every single thing right. He
Yeah.
did nothing wrong. It's just WWF were like, oh, the whole thing with Mankind worked wonders.
Yeah.
Let's do it with Goldust. They kind of went to the well too quick on that.
You know what he
But,
wanted to do in '98 to get over? Have you heard the story?
no, I haven't.
He wanted to get breast implants, like real ones. Legit. Type it in. Goldust breast implants. He wanted to do it. Vince talked him out of it. He was willing to do anything to get the character over in
Right.
'98 because his marriage was over. Is like all he had left was his career.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to get breast implants. And like, I don't know what he would have done as
I
a
don't know.
character, as a man with breast implants, but
I don't
that's
know.
the type of dedication he had to this character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's something wild, but yeah, like I heard that on I forget where I heard that, but it was a credible wrestling podcast.
I will say this, not only about Goldust, but about Dustin Rhodes overall. To me, Dustin is one of the most underrated wrestlers I think there's ever been. He is so good in the ring. Like, from because I did see him in WCW a lot. Like 93 to 95, especially 94 is incredible stuff. And then when he gets to be Goldust, like for a while, I was like, oh man, I don't like this gimmick. But after looking it over, it's like, damn, he did a really good job with it. And
Yeah,
then when he came back in '02, he did a really good job with that gimmick. And then the pairing of him and Booker T was amazing. It worked
yeah,
wonders. And then, because the thing with Goldust, the thing with Dustin Rhodes in general, he always has that one moment or that one match where when he has it, it sparked such a big confidence, a boost of confidence in him. Like, and I'll use an example. When they did the whole Cody Rhodes got fired thing, and he wanted to win his brother's job back. He has that match on Raw with Randy Orton. That is fantastic. It is a fantastic match. He
Yep.
loses, but it's fantastic to the point that he ends up getting a job again because of the one match.
Yep.
And then, many years later, the match that he and Cody have at the first Double or Nothing, which is fantastic in its own right. If you've never seen it, I recommend it.
I'm glad
And
you
then,
brought that up. It's not a Goldust match because he's not Goldust in the
right,
match.
he's not
I think that's
Goldust.
that's the best match I've seen him in. Because
Yeah,
I want to ask you what your favorite Goldust match was. Um, Now, was he Goldust in that Randy Orton match, or was
yeah, he
he?
was.
Okay, so that would probably be my favorite Goldust match. But my favorite match of Dustin Rhodes that I've seen was that one with Cody at the AEW pay per view.
I may have to split this in a couple ways.
Okay.
I think my favorite Goldust match, I'm going to say it's the one with Piper. Like
Yeah,
that one is real, but he has so many other, like the one
bit of
with
a
Ahmed
wild match because
Johnson.
he was on like it was like one was filmed like a
Mm-hmm.
week before.
Right.
So, but when they bring it all together and then they actually have to like tape up their wrists and make sure they're
Right.
wearing the same pants and stuff, and
But like he has so many good gems, like the one with Ahmed Johnson, the one with Triple H at the Rumble is good.
yeah,
Um, he has good matches, and like we said, the one with Orton is really good.
even the Razor match, like his first
Yeah,
main match where he wins the
yeah,
title.
that's a good match too.
So yeah, most of the
Um,
'96 was good. He had some good matches. Undertaker too.
if oh yeah, Undertaker too, exactly.
Casket matches with the gold casket.
I agree with you. I think the match he had with Cody, that first AEW show, is his best after Goldust.
Yeah,
And then the one that I would say before Goldust, um, you know what? It's not an individual performance, but he's in this match and he's so damn good in it. Is the War Games match? It's Sting and his crew, which Dustin is on the team against the Dangerous Alliance.
yeah.
And Dustin is so good in that match. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So there's many Dustin Rhodes and Goldust matches to check out. You just got to find him. He's totally underrated. He really is. And I'm glad that he was able to get his relationship back with Dusty, and he kind of became a mentor to Cody, and he's in a peaceful place now in his life. He recently became a grandfather for the first time. Dakota just had a kid
That makes me
many
feel
months
old since he
ago.
was a baby when we were
Yeah.
watching '87 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So she's
So
having kids.
he's in a really good spot in his life, and I could not be any happier for him. He's one of my favorites.
And it's kind of sad in the wrestling business. There isn't a lot of happy endings
Yeah.
when guys retire or move on. Like I believe he's a producer or a coach at AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he wrestles a lot for them still
Time to time.
once in a while, but yeah, it seems like everything's kind of going well for him. So
Yeah.
appreciate everyone that voted on this poll.
Mm-hmm. And like we said, we are going to do Bret Hart WCW. That is
Yeah, that
absolutely going to happen.
that will probably be episode 51 or 52. I don't know if you
Yeah.
wanted to do a review after we announce our next show, which we
Um,
will probably do right away here.
we could probably figure it out,
Yeah,
but
we'll talk off camera about that.
yeah.
But
So we're gonna do the quick plug. You could join our Facebook group, the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. We have over what do we have? Over 300 members, I think. Is that? I'll have to let me double check real quick. I want
I
to
think
say
we're
it
at
is over
79.
300.
I think we're at 79 members for the wrestling podcast.
Um, oh, okay. I just saw something from my old job. That's why I did that. Oh, kind of thing.
We were at 300 for the sports show, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So our goal between now, you know what? I'm gonna issue a challenge. The goal is going to be from now until episode 50. We need 21 people to get to 100.
Yeah.
Invite your friends, get them into the group.
Please
We'll
do.
get 100 by the 50th episode. You know
Yeah,
what, DK?
and then that's how you grow. Just if everyone invites 5 people, and maybe 2 of them agree, we'll be close to 200. So do it.
This was a good episode. I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back.
That's a little segue.
Someone else used to do that.
Yep.
We've mentioned this guy a few times. So, episode 50, which is a milestone episode. I kind of think of it as a milestone episode.
I'll say.
Our next episode, ladies and gentlemen, I'm smiling about this. We are going to have the man himself, Barry Horowitz, is going to join us on the next episode of the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. That's right. We're getting Barry Horowitz on our show. So
it's an exciting time for the podcast.
It is. It is. And before anybody asks, I have talked to Barry this week. I have talked to him. Wonderful guy. I cannot wait. He's excited for this because what we're going to do, we're fingers crossed, we're going to do something with Barry that Barry's never done before. And he admitted this to me the other day. We're going to do kind of our own commentary of his match from SummerSlam 95 against Skip. We're going to talk during the match. We're going to ask him his thoughts, what was going on, what was going through his mind during the match. We're going to ask him questions. And we may even ask some of your questions. So if you have any questions that you want us to read to Barry, send it to us. We will read them on the air for Barry Horowitz.
Yeah, but I'll probably create a thread on the group, or you can just send it to us directly, Facebook message to me or Bill, or you just post it right on the group.
Yeah, we will read it to him.
And we'll go through it. We'll mention you by name. Barry will answer your question, and we'll discuss. We have half an hour with him, so it'll be fun. We're gonna hopefully be able to do the watch along, as long as we don't have any technical issues.
Right, and
if we can't do the watch along,
we're gonna do the questions.
We'll do the questions, and then we'll kind of talk about his career and any fun stories he might have that he could share with us that we may not have heard before. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited. Will be our first former wrestler that we have on our show. So
actually, he's still active, believe it or not.
Yeah, he's still active.
He does independent shows, so he's still active in the game.
So he's still going. Maybe we can talk about some current stuff that he's involved with too.
Absolutely.
So it should be a lot of fun. And I look forward to the questions from you guys. And I got a few already. So
I got a couple in
mind. Fun show.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. Remember, tell your friends about us. Tell them to join this Facebook group. We want to get to 100 before the 50th episode. So please bring your friends over. Bring your family over. Just don't bring your family's friends. Bring them to our Facebook group to join the DK and Bill Wrestling Podcast. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend.
And I'll add this. Whoever gets the most people will get a special gift from DK.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
So invite your whole Facebook group fans. There's lots of wrestling fans out there, and you don't really know they're wrestling fans. Get them in the group.
There are.
And we'll figure out who invited the most and who got the most to join. We'll probably set it at like a 2-week window or something like that for the next show. And whoever has the most will get a special gift from DK.
There you go. All right.
Thanks so much, guys.
With Barry Horowitz.